I think we might start. We're right on time. So thank you everybody for coming along. This is our first ever session on Facet5 Live. And it's an absolute thrill to have Jess here as our first keynote speaker. I'm not going to dally, but Jess is a in-resident coaching expert here at Facet5, based in Sydney, Australia. And we've been working on some exciting opportunities within the career coaching space and using Facet5. So I'm going to hand over to Jess and let her take you through the career coaching keynote speaker content. Welcome, Jess. Welcome, everybody. If you have questions, please use the chat. If we can't get to the questions in the session, we will be creating an FAQ and providing it to you after the session on the My Page registrations site. So sit back and enjoy. Please remember, keep yourself muted and your video off just to minimize disruption. And we look forward to hearing your comments through the chat. And welcome, Jess.
Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. What an absolute delight. Welcome to Facet5 Live and welcome to the career coaching session. I'm absolutely thrilled to be here and to join all of you in this wonderful conference that is kicking off today. So welcome. So my name is Jess. So primarily my background is in coaching psychology and science, but as you'll see, my first career was very much focused on the performing arts in creativity and storytelling. So what we'll be focused on today in our session focused on career coaching is how you can support organizations to build a culture of thriving careers using Facet5. We'll be looking at what is career coaching and the career coaching framework as the process of career coaching. And lastly, we'll be launching an exciting new certification program that is all about career, and more about that a little later in the session. So let's start with, what do we mean by career? So let's look at our definition. So Grant and myself and the wider team at Facet5 have been looking at this notion and really delving into, what does it mean? What is career? We've come up with the following. A career is where personality, capabilities, and talents align with passion, purpose, and values. Career coaching conversations are an essential process for both employer and employee. It requires non-linear thinking, skilled conversations, and empathetic listening. Thriving careers create flourishing individuals and allow organizations to prosper. Our definition is focused on three key areas. Career aspiration, and that's where the personality piece comes in. Personality, capabilities, and talents. The role of job and the skills required for the individual to really thrive in that job. And the organization's values and culture. And all three need to be working together. It's a living process. So we then asked ourselves, what is career coaching? My approach is very much the following. Career coaching and career conversations focus on reinvigorating childlike excitement of dreams and aspirations, and then matching strengths and skills to carve out and developing a rewarding career. We got asked, what is the value of career coaching, and is it really necessary? Absolutely it is. So what we're looking at here is Facet5 being the objective third person in the coaching conversation, providing a non-emotive, objective voice that supports both coachee and coach. We start with client aspiration and we listen to their stories and the realities of their current situation. We move through to build awareness, and that's where the absolute power of the Facet5 debrief comes into its own. We move towards clarity and connection and focusing the coachee or the client on accountability. And this is really key so that they can then move to the career plan, which is their drive to action. So what does a culture of thriving careers look like in the context of an organization? We've spent quite a bit of time this year focusing on collecting narrative and content from our clients in respect to the career coaching engagement, interactions, and all of the feedback that they've been generously willing to provide us. So here are some of their comments. I am in the driver's seat of my own career, and I'm excited and motivated by the goals and learning opportunities ahead. I'm on a clear path that is purpose-driven and led by me. I am confident in the direction my professional development and learning is taking because I have an informed plan in which I can test, reflect, and practice. Next, Facet5 validates my strengths and helps me to understand why I like working in certain environments, on certain things, and in certain ways. It helps me to understand the opportunities I should be pursuing to support me to realize my potential and feel that I'm working towards a career I can succeed and thrive in. The next quote is the following. This is an environment in which I feel motivated by, energized, and engaged. In this space, I belong. I am contributing excellence, and I feel valued. Through Facet5, I can identify my strengths and the strengths of others, understand my preferences and the preferences of others to contribute, lead, and coach. I strive to realize my own potential through understanding my motivators and the motivators of others. I have the practical skills to communicate and collaborate with foresight, thought, and knowledge. What we're looking at here are simple truths. Our career coaching approach is practical, it's human, it's based on science and focuses on potential. Let's look at the practical. We're looking at clear, strong, and logical methodology that can be learnt, practiced, and applied by everyone every day in formal coaching interventions and less formal coaching conversational moments, both for maximum impact. It is human, people-focused, empathy-driven with care and compassion as the foundation that delivers outcomes in which both business and people can thrive. It focuses on potential. It's strengths-based and holds everyone in high positive regard so that we can all reach our full career potential by providing the right tools in a process that is delivered uniquely to the individual's needs. Lastly, of course, it is based on science, the science of personality, evidence-based coaching psychology, behavior change, positive psychology, and wellness science. All of the Facet5 products and offerings can come into play when it comes to our new career coaching offering. So all of the tools are useful, valuable, and very much can be applied to our new coaching model. So what is our model? The career framework. Let's have a look. So first of all, what is the coachee's strengths that they can count on in every role? Their strengths. How they like to work, their approach to work, their natural styles and areas to be aware of. What motivates them? What are the job elements that they should be looking for? Those things that motivate them and what things that demotivate them. And next, where they thrive, the environments they thrive in, and how they can leverage their preferences in their work. This is what we're focusing on in the career framework. So our career motivator report, as many of you should be aware, has been updated and is ready to go, and we're really excited to launch it and also to demonstrate it to all of our practitioners. If you haven't already signed up or registered for the session that is looking primarily at the new career motivators report or the updated report, you can register here by simply linking this QR code or on the Facet5 website, of course. Okay. So at this stage, I might just check in to see, excuse me for looking to the side on my other screen, if there are any questions, and that which there are not, please feel free to add any questions, contributions or statements in the chat box, but otherwise we will keep going. So we are so excited here at Facet5 to be launching right here, right now, for the very first time, our new career coaching certification. This has been a little while in the making, and the team and myself are extremely thrilled to launch it here at Facet5 Live. So the career coaching certification is one that is very much focused on the science of personality and everything you love about Facet5. We are also, as part of this certification, launching coaching conversations development programs that are also part of the certification, which is really, really exciting. So let's delve into that a little more. So, of course, evidence, science, and research underpins Facet5 approach to career coaching. The science of personality, evidence-based coaching psychology, evidence-based wellness science, which may also be known as positive psychology, and adult learning principles and best practices. So launching today, we have our program, our certification, CARE, C-A-R-E, by Facet5, an acronym which stands for Careers Autonomously Realized Every Day through Coaching Conversations and the Power of Personality. What we're looking at here is a 3-day accreditation that at present we're looking at it being broken up into 6 4-hour modules, of course, virtually delivered and convenient for all in various different time zones. So let's break down what the accreditation includes. Day 1, coaching model and theory, skills development, and the role of personality. Day 2, practice, application, and assessment. What this will look like in application is very much like a coaching triad demonstration. Day 3, train the trainer programs, in which we will then delve into the 3 offerings, the 3 programs that you can then take into your clients and organizations in which you are supporting. So those 3 programs are Foundation Conversation Skills for New Managers using the Super Skills Report. Next, Quality Career Conversations for Leaders using the Career Motivators Report. And then lastly, an offering for early career, which is really, really exciting, and one that at present, especially in the Asia-Pac region, is extremely sought after. And many of my clients, of course, are very much focused on delivering really robust and really thought-provoking, interesting, intelligent offerings for their early career employees. So that is focused on strengths and capability building for early career. Let's look at another slide to look at those programs. So they are Care for New Managers, Care for Leaders, and Care for Early Career. So the accreditation focuses on the following capabilities: the coaching process, coaching skills, and the way of being. What are the personal attributes that makes for a successful coach, or a coach that's really going to thrive and really enjoy this type of work? So who is it for? Very much HR, L&D, OD, anyone in coaching, leadership and management, and also, of course, our extremely valued practitioner community who want to add a practical process for developing people and realizing potential. So we have some upcoming dates already in the pipeline. So they are in late March of 23. We will be looking at our first cohort going through the accreditation, and that will be from our career advisory group. And many of you on the call are already in that group, And what we're really looking for is for volunteers to be part of that first cohort. So please, we will be reaching out to you shortly and hope that you can join us. For the wider community, we will be based on that cohort going through in April of 2023 next year. What we'd really love is for everyone who is interested to, of course, add your details into the chat box, which we would love, which I have open right now. And if you can include name, email address, and any other contact details would be fantastic. And the team at Facet5 will collate that and be getting back to you as soon as possible. So we would love as many people as possible to really reach out. My personal email is there as well. So please feel free to reach out and ask any questions, either to myself or to the hello@Facet5 Global email address, and we will endeavour to answer all of your questions. And we are really, really excited to be providing further information and getting started in March and April of 2023. So at this stage, I'm going to ask everyone to please feel free to unmute and to show your cameras if you feel that that's appropriate or confident to do so. And we can address some of the questions and really delve into this fantastic new offering from Facet5. So please feel free to unmute. We'd love to hear your questions.
Hi, Jess, I've got a question for you about some of the key principles around career coaching that you use. And we have documented those, and I'm just wondering if I maybe share my screen and you can take us through those. Yeah.
So I'll stop sharing my,
Yeah, so these were the ones that when we did our original career thinking, we were looking at some of those. What are those key principles that you engage in your career coaching conversations that really has informed the career coaching design? I'm just wondering if you might be able to take us through some of those.
Yeah, absolutely. So first and foremost, what is really important is that we get back to the basics of working with the individual. Of course, that is aligned with the values of the organization, but that we're working with the individual on tapping into that autonomy and tapping into that intrinsic motivation. So what we know is when we are getting the right people in the right roles and then giving them the right tasks that play to their strengths, and their strengths that is informed by Facet5 data, then that is when we have thriving individuals and thriving organizations. And going even further back to basics, that's when we have happy, content individuals that feel that they're contributing something of value because it's something that they enjoy and something that they're good at. So we're really looking at taking away the friction and adding the ease. So what we always talk about, both in coaching principles and Facet5 principles, is we want people to work with ease. We want things to feel effortless, and that's where we start. So next, I'd like to talk about this non-linear approach to career coaching. So we very much take the creative entrepreneurial approach and support the coachee or the client to feel comfortable in the unknown, to feel comfortable in perhaps not knowing the exact path in which they're going to be taking. That may preferentially feel more comfortable to some than others. To those that perhaps the less control equaling the less comfort, we can support that individual with focusing rather on being open to the opportunities that may arise from them focusing on their strengths. Next, I really like to encourage my coaching clients and the coaches that I work with in the development space to really have the courage to ask those big questions, those dreaming-like questions. we sometimes get caught up with the professionalism of feeling that we have to use language that is very focused on the tasks, the roles, the PD. And sometimes we lose sight of maybe it is appropriate to use language like, what is the big dream? What's the big goal? And clients and coachees always appreciate that. Being asked, what do you want to do, is a question sometimes that they don't get asked very often, if not ever. So this program is really focused on having the skills and the blueprint in which to ask those big questions. And how do you navigate as a coach through perhaps something that might look like 5 coaching sessions over fortnightly periods. So how do we navigate through that? Next, I'd like to briefly talk about autonomy and the notion of supporting the coachee or the client to take responsibility for their own career. I like to call it a two-way bargain. So their organization, of course, meets them halfway, but how are they going to, with practical skills and with courage and with permission, meet the organization halfway as well, so that we have a two-way bargain? So this program is very much focused on supporting the coachee to take control and responsibility for navigating themselves through their careers, and looking at their wider career, so even beyond that particular organization that they're in. But if we were to look at it from a time span that is within that organization, taking responsibility for that, taking responsibility for their professional development, their learning, their possible mentorships, and all of the growth and development that will help them achieve their goals. So that two-way bargain. And lastly, the career coaching process provides the foundation of awareness. So we're very much focused in this program on awareness, and that is at the heart of everything that Facet5 is about. And so we're tapping into using, of course, the science of personality and the Facet5 offering, and supporting our clients in a way in which to really promote and skill up in that autonomous way of looking at things, and that self-responsibility at the heart of everything we want our employee population to be motivated by. So I hope that answers that, Grant.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you so much. We've got another question there from Rollback, which is interested in understanding more about what the experience has been in applying this approach in outplacement and career transition. What's your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think that it very much plays a part and can be really useful, because at the heart of this program, so at this accreditation that Facet5 and myself have developed, is very much the individual at the heart of it. So again, I use that language. It's focused on aligning with the organization's values, but first and foremost, aligning with the individual or the coachee's values. And that's what outplacement should be all about, focusing on the individual, where they want to be, how they're feeling, where they're at, all of those things at the heart of ensuring that that person, that individual, feels safe, feels heard, and is looked after. And at the heart of the values of Facet5 and myself as a coach, that is everything. That is the most important. So I hope, Rob, that answers that question. Feel free to unmute if you feel that that's appropriate. But in regards to where this program can sit with outplacement, I very much see it sitting really, really well.
Fantastic. Another great question, Maria Katerina, asking, is a program going to be appropriate to support managers facilitate career conversations with their team members?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for that question, because that's very much what we want to have present in this program, is that this accreditation is appropriate for coaches and also appropriate for managers or people leaders that want to improve or develop or have a roadmap for career conversations with their people, which in our experience and from our research that we have been conducting, sometimes that is not feeling comfortable for certain managers, and rightfully so. It's a very sensitive, personal area to go into, and that confidence piece, we feel at Facet5, can be built upon by providing a roadmap of possible questions, possible scripts, possible ways of approaching, possible frameworks. So I'm hoping that that does answer that question. Again, please feel free to unmute if there's more I can answer. But I think in essence, the question was about people leaders.
And thank you. Another direct question, which is, what's that influence then and the change in name of positive psychology, and how is that bringing in and melding with the typical psychologies that we use and the trait theory that we use with Facet5 in career coaching? How do they come together?
Okay, so I think that I'll start with the first part of the question, and please feel free to correct me if I don't get to the question in its entirety. I think the first question was, what is the relationship between positive psychology and wellness science?
That's right.
Yeah. So my understanding is, at present, definitely in Australia, we are terming what we perhaps previously had termed positive psychology or positive psychology interventions. The term that we're using at present is the wellness sciences. So that really ties in really well to what we're moving forward in achieving with the Facet5 career coaching accreditation, in terms of, at the heart of it, we're looking at happy, well, valued, intrinsically motivated, autonomously driven individuals. So that's what we're focused on. And wellness has to play, if not the biggest part in that, or we could term it what underpins that. So I'm really excited to be using the wellness sciences as something that really informs how we talk to individuals, both in informal coaching conversations and then equally so in more formal coaching interventions. I hope that answers that question.
Yeah. Yep, fantastic. Thank you so much. That's great. A question here from Christian around, actually, as part of the career conversations, is there a report generated from the coachees Facet5 report, similar to what is generated for Teamscape? It's a great question, and that's what the Career Motivator report is ultimately designed to do. So would you like to speak a little bit more about that, Jess?
Yeah, so certainly. So as I've shared in my work using Facet5 as a executive and career coach over more than 12, 13 years now, I have used nearly every different Facet5 product to support the client, and using different products because of the different client needs at the time. So that could be Spotlight, it could be Super Skills, etc., etc. What we are saying is, keep doing that. That's great. But now we are also offering a more formal connection between this new career coaching accreditation or certification and the new Career Motivators report. So if you think back to the framework that we looked at, how the coachee likes to work, what environments, etc., etc., and what motivates them and what demotivates them. The Career Motivators report is a one-stop shop, an incredible report that is accessible, uses language that, in my opinion, is appropriate from early career right through to C-suite executives. And it doesn't need any other formal training. It's a great report. If you haven't looked at it lately, of course, because it's been updated, I highly recommend coming to the session that will look at that. So in summary, don't stop using all the other products to support career coaching interventions, but do, if you are considering joining us for this new certification in career coaching, you will be directed to link the Career Motivators report to that offering. So hope that answers the question.
Perfect. Thank you. And yes, that's running at midday on Friday GMT. So for those people, and you can still register. We have unlimited registrations, as many seats as you want. If you are a practitioner, then we will open up Career Motivator and you'll get your Career Motivator report. If you're not a practitioner already, or you don't have a profile, then we'll be sending you, and you can register, we'll send you a link to complete the questionnaire and you'll get your Career Motivator report as part of that session. Another actually direct question coming through to me was around some of the challenges and barriers that you may face when bringing in career coaching or a career coaching framework into organizations.
So the words, Grant, were barriers and challenges, is that right?
That's right. Yeah. What's your experience around those and potentially navigating those for bringing that into an organization, bringing in career coaching into an organization?
Sure. So first of all, it's only as good as the training. So let's start there. So and it's a pathway. So what we're aiming to achieve here is working with incredible practitioners or professionals like yourselves on this call to accredit you in the coaching certification. And then that allows you to then go into organizations or into your own organization with your own team and to deliver one of or all of those 3 professional development programs that at the heart have coaching psychology as the basis of those principles, as well as the science of personality. So I start by answering that question by it's only as good as the training, first and foremost, and being really robust about how you roll that out. Secondly, in my experience, it's about how you communicate the project or the intervention or the approach. Comms is extremely important, and you want to spend a lot of time and thought in how you're communicating. And from my experience, it is about over communicating. You can't over communicate enough. And with that communication, at the heart of it is to not put pressure on people that you are adding more to their workload. We really want to make clear that this is not just another thing we are requiring you to do. This is actually something that we are investing in your development to make your job easier and make you more successful and make you feel more equipped. So I hope in answering that question, you'll feel or get a sense of that nuanced approach in the comms that I feel is important. And if I may have a moment of vulnerability, I definitely haven't got that right all the time, due to my Facet5 personality profile. Sometimes my downfall is I assume people understand, and do not prescribe enough communications. So that's something I'm always looking at developing, but that would be my advice. I hope that has answered that question.
Fantastic. And I think if I was to build on to that around that skilling component, a lot of the work that we do with organizations where the requirement for managers or leaders or people leaders, leaders of leaders to have those conversations in a very busy schedule. We know that people who do that naturally in more of a coaching format have been doing it very well for a long time. But to your point, we're not adding in extra. What we're doing is supporting with skills, frameworks and process and tools. And initially, I think that gives individuals a bit of comfort. I know it does for me. For example, I've got a framework of questions. I've got a frame or a process that I can use. And through practice, it becomes a little bit more natural, a little bit more authentic. And the biggest barrier that we always find is I just don't have the time for that. And what we're trying to do is shift people's mindset a little bit to saying, well, actually, if you have this framework, if you have this tool, you have this information, this conversation will become a little bit more natural. It'll become part of your day-to-day, and you'll get more skilled at it.
And Grant, if I may add just before the next question, it's going to be far more likely for the approach or the conversation to be on point for that individual, because not only do you have the framework of the coaching conversation provided by Facet5, you also have the Career Motivators report, which has detailed information about that individual in which you're having that conversation with. So in our experience, we know that using Facet5 data, profiles, and products is a shortcut to achieving the objective, and this certification is no different.
Fantastic, thank you. Question from Sonia: is the career motivator only for managers and leaders, or can it be used for individuals to enhance personal career?
Was the question the Career Motivators report or the?
I think the whole process, really. I think certainly Career Motivator report has been written for the individual with its interpretation guide, and it's written as a workbook. So yes, it's all the data that we have from Facet5, all of our profiles, all of those outputs, all focused on the individual. That's where change happens. It's your information. And I think the career coaching process then becomes also an enabler of that for people.
Absolutely. So the Career Motivator report is a standalone report that Facet5 and myself, we both share with you today, can be used without any further training. I would even be as bold to say it's for the individual who is interested in developing their own career. It is extremely easy to access. If you are not a practitioner or don't have your own Facet5 profile, which Grant just mentioned, it's as easy as filling out a 15-minute questionnaire, and then you are sent this wonderful Career Motivators report on yourself. So that's from the individual's perspective. And from a perspective of answering that question in regards to, is the coaching accreditation for everyone? Absolutely. So at present, we are not requiring any other accreditation other than a willingness and an interest. Is that correct, Grant?
That's right. Yeah. So it's a standalone accreditation. Right. Allowing managers, we don't need everybody to be Facet5 accredited. Obviously, another layer to your accreditation is always welcome as a career pathway for practitioners within Facet5, but it really is focused on those career experts, those people, leaders, leaders of leaders, team members who want to create an environment of thriving careers in organizations. I've got one last question here, which is actually from Norman. How quickly can participants recognize the value? Do they have to be very patient, or can they see the results quite quickly?
Does Norman mean participants in the certification or reading the Career Motivators report?
let's go for participants actually using the career, going through a career coaching process, having a career motivator report. Where do we see, or how quickly can we see value, or the individual see value in that process?
Okay, I think I can answer this, Norman. I think the answer is very quickly, because you have in the 3-day experience or accreditation, you have the decades of research and work that you yourself have done, and you have the incredible work that Grant, the team, and myself have put with that in the evidence-based coaching psychology space. I'm really confident that this is an accreditation in which participants can really quickly skill up, feel really confident in approaching career conversations and career coaching. I am very passionate about taking evidence-based coaching psychology and the academia and rigor around that, and making that content really accessible for everyone who manages people or who has an interest in developing people. So my intention, as is Facet5's, is to have the content in the accreditation be easily digested, be practiced and assessed in a way that is providing that confidence that you can take the theory learnt in the 3 days, practice, and take it right out into the field, into the day-to-day, into your organization, and feel really positive, successful, confident, and watch the results. That is our intention, and I feel very confident to predict that that will be the result. How about that, Norman?
Fantastic. And I think, as with all the theory that goes in our thinking around Facet5, all the interventions that we have for the individual, we use this sort of little saying of data to insights, insights to action. We have vast, valid, trusted, reliable data that we produce. The insights come from the intervention, the coaching session, the teaming session, the self-reflection component. And ultimately, we look to get in action and enablement. But that comes down to the drive from the individual. So we provide great data. The coaching process or the career conversation process will provide great insight. Really, then it comes down to the action, the environment in which that action can actually occur within the organization to see value for the individual.
And if I may, I know we've only got 1 minute left for Norman and the group. The accreditation will also provide the formula and the framework for each of the accredited practitioners to monitor and develop their progress moving forward. How do they reflect? How do they gain more feedback from peers as they move along and develop their skills far beyond the accreditation process?
Fantastic. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jess. Thank you for your insights. Thank you, everybody, for attending. This recording will be available on your My Page booking site, and we'll send you a link to that. We'll also provide you with some keynote takeaways, and you'll be able to access these slides as well. And if you're interested in the Career Motivator Report overview, that's happening on Friday. Again, you can book on the website or on your own My Page site. Thank you so much for coming along. We hope you've enjoyed this session, and we look forward to seeing you at other sessions on Facet5 Live. And have a fantastic afternoon, morning. And
thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.